First certificate, Reading and Use of English Paper. Part 3, Word Formation Exercise. Let's read it. Fully charged cars. How will we cope in the future if fossil fuels run out? How about looking at the automobile industry? It is estimated that by the year 2040, 50% of all cars will be run on. Engineers are striving to achieve near on the new engines as they race round the clock in order to create the most eco-friendly and at the same time powerful machine. Nevertheless, this new technology may make the world quite a bit more. Indeed, no noise comes from the motors as cars come whizzing by around street corners. What about possible accidents? Could this cause deaths? Some have suggested new vehicles with external loudspeakers to play tunes on. Others have considered fitting them with that are by objects within a certain range. Many people think that we should even consider a flying car as a safe option. One thing seems sure: the future is full of as well as excitement. Let's read it again. Fully charged cars. How will we cope in the future if fossil fuels run out? How about looking at the automobile industry? It is estimated that by the year 2040, 50% of all cars will be run on. Okay, so the first one has been done for you. They have got the word estimate, and from it, they have formed another word, estimated. We should do the same now with the word electric. So, we have to find a word that shares the root electric, but it has to have a different form. So, will be run on, will be powered on, will use. Here, we are looking for a noun. So, what noun can we think that corresponds to electric? Well, we could think of maybe electrician, but that would not make sense. Electricians don't give power. So what thing gives power? Electricity gives power. So we have will be run on electricity. Let's continue. Engineers are striving to achieve near on the new engines. So with perfect. They're striving to achieve. What can you achieve? You achieve things. You achieve nouns. We want to find a noun that has a root perfect. So I can only think of one, perfection. To achieve near perfection. Notice here that near is used as an adjective, as it sometimes can. Let's continue. As they race around the clock in order to create the most eco-friendly and at the same time powerful machine. Nevertheless, this new technology may make the world quite a bit more, with danger. Quite a bit more, make the world, with this structure, we often have an adjective at the end of it. So we have to think of an adjective that has the root danger embedded in it. I can only think of one, dangerous, and it makes sense in the context. Indeed, no noise comes from the motors as cars come whizzing by around street corners. So that could make sense by itself. We need not put a word in that gap, but we are expected to. Okay, so a noun would not make sense here. Also, an adjective wouldn't fit, and A verb wouldn't fit either. It must be an adverb. It must be an adverb that describes the way the cars move. And we know this could be seen as dangerous. So as cars come whizzing by means going very quickly, as cars come going very quickly around street corners with expect, an adverb. So you could say unexpectedly, yeah? So in this case, we have put a negative prefix in front of expectedly. It means that you weren't expecting to see a car come because you didn't hear a noise. Okay, let's continue. What about possible accidents? Could this cause deaths? Some have suggested new vehicles with external loudspeakers. So with a verb like suggest, if it's followed by another verb, we should put that in the gerund. Okay, so there's a group of verbs that only accept gerunds. Okay, suggest being included in one of them. So some have suggested, so they suggested an action. Okay, equipping. Some have suggested equipping new vehicles with external loudspeakers to play tunes on. It's an action, okay, but it's in the form of a noun. They have suggested it. Let's continue. Others have considered fitting them with, okay, so with sense. Fitting them means that the cars have a certain function. We have put something inside them. It could be lights, it could be an extra seat. In this case, putting something inside the cars with sense. This has to be a noun as it is preceded by a preposition. Okay, so from sense, well, you can fit cars with something called sensors. You spell that Sensors. A sensor, if you didn't know, often gives out a noise. For example, when in this case, when it comes close to an object. In this case, we will say sensors. Let's continue. Fitting them with sensors that are by objects within a certain range. So here we have a passive, okay? We have the verb, and then with passives, we should put the participle. So the participle of trigger being triggered. Trigger means the same as set off, that are triggered by objects within a certain range. Many people think that we should even consider a flying car as a safe option. One thing seems sure. The future is full of, as well as excitement. So we have a preposition. It must be followed by a noun. From certain, we could say certainties of certainty, as well as excitement, but that doesn't make sense with the rest of the text. Here it's saying that we don't know what could happen in the future. We want to say the opposite. So we put another negative prefix. We put uncertainties, or also uncertainty. So this word has a countable and a non-countable function. And with that, we have finished the exercise.